All right, we will switch over to the stream. Tony will not be joining us. He may watch on Twitch, so he has an idea as to what's going on. Uh, he is under the weather and trying to get through this. So we wish him luck, and hopefully we will see him back next week. But much like Tony, Luther could also use a rest, so that makes sense. So last time, we kicked off the actual start of Masks of Nyarlathotep with you guys journeying to New York in January of 1925 at the behest of your friend Jackson Elias, a renowned author whose books specialize on death cults. He had asked you to meet him. He had something important relating to the Carlisle expedition, an expedition that famously was murdered in Nairobi. People were tried and executed for the deaths. Apparently, Elias has found out something about this. Unfortunately, Elias ended up quite dead, brutally murdered. His intestines ripped out, a symbol carved in his forehead. You guys have ransacked his room rather messily. Salvador has captured a cultist and kind of weekend at Bernie's him through the back of the Chelsea Hotel into one of the two rooms that Professor Carter had reserved. Volador, in a scuffle with a cultist, one of the ones who murdered Elias, got a very nasty knife wound across his torso. And was in danger of bleeding out before Luther and I believe it was Luther and Evelyn managed to get him stabilized and moved out of room 410, out of Elias's room, and into one of the other rooms that Dr. Carter had. The police have arrived due to gunshots, and medical has arrived due to a request. The doctor is with Salvador and Luther and has basically told the cops to get out of his way. He had important work to do. And Alvin and Evelyn were in the process of checking over Jackson's room for anything of import when a police detective, lieutenant, was kind of like, I'm asking you politely not to mess anything up. So currently, the situation is in room 410, which is Elias's room, are Evelyn, Alvin, and two corpses and the police detective. In room 406 is the wounded Volador and Luther and the doctor, who's done everything he can to patch Volador up. And in room, I think I gave you 404 as well, is Dr. Carter, who's been trying to maintain plausible deniability just in case. And that is the room where Salvatore, avoiding the cops, has brought the unconscious cultist and kind of stashed him in the tub. The uniformed officers have been ushered out of the crime scene, and the doctor has ushered them out of the makeshift hospital room. There are also, as you kind of peer out the window, there are some uniformed officers on the street because during the scuffle with the cultist, Dr. Carter tried a follow that car with a cab that then proceeded to roll a 100 and fumble and hit a patch of black ice and crash into a street lamp. So there are uniformed cops on the street as well. And that is where we left off, I believe.
Just for clarification, Chris, I know we got maybe not the once over because we were pretty clear, but I had thought that the detective had asked myself and Miss Collins into another room and that he was going to be back with us afterwards. Or are we continuing that integration sequence?
Currently, you are all in room 410. He did fairly immediately ping that Alvin was either a cop or an ex-cop. Mm-hmm. The way Alvin very slowly and methodically grabbed his gun, offered his ID. He intuited very quickly that you have some law enforcement knowledge.
Subtext: I did not want to get shot.
Nobody wants to get shot, especially not in this game. So we'll pick up in room 410 with Alvin and Evelyn. This detective, and he's I think I showed you guys a picture. Give me one sec. I have a picture of him.
Do not show us the picture. The last pictures we have are of the weapon that you described that sliced them.
He looks
gigantic
familiar.
knife.
Martin Poole looks familiar.
Perfect. So Lieutenant Poole, he like ushers the uniform officers. He's like, watch the hallway, find out where that blood trail goes, see if there's any more bodies kicking around. And kind of turns back to the two of you and kind of rubs the bridge of his nose. He does look down at Jackson, and both of you can give me psychology rolls.
Oh, that is for something you forgot to recap. Our 590s in a row when we were tossing the room.
Oh yeah, those rolls were so bad. And we're off to another flying start today, I see.
Of course, it always happens to be when we're being interrogated, right? No, it couldn't be when we're like paying a bill or something or trying to get cupcakes. It's like the cops are in front of us and we're standing above a bloody body, right? Like, it has to be that.
I couldn't make a roll, and I have a psychology of 78. My dice luck is back.
Right, so he looks
thereof, rather.
He looks down at Jackson's body, and you would think that he would be more focused on like the fact that like his intestines have been like he's been cut across the lower stomach and his intestines are hanging out. But he seems to linger a little bit more on the symbol carved in the forehead. And he'll turn as he kind of rubs the brow of his nose. It's like, so, what happened?
I take a very slow half step forward, taking lead on this, or Alvin does. And he says, we were invited here by Mr. Elias. I'm going for a note. And I slowly reach out with the note. Told us to meet him here, and he left a message to meet him at 8 o'clock. We're all here together to meet him. We came in at 8 o'clock. We came up to the door, and we heard something from the inside. The door was unlocked. We came in and we saw someone I point to the window over there trying to go over the edge. We saw one person standing over the body, and we rushed in to try to help our friend. Some of us were hurt in the process. We managed to get our hands on one of the perpetrators, and the third one fled in a car. The one who was in this room that we were trying to subdue at the time, the one who was armed with a knife, jumped at my friend Volador and sliced him through, and then jumped at me. He threw me through the window, and that's when he raised his arm to stab me with the knife, and I unloaded my revolver to save my life.
Yeah, he'll look over to Evelyn. Say that. Anything you wish to add to that?
No.
Right. So you won't mind coming down to the local precinct, answering, a few more questions.
I would like to also know who murdered my friend.
Right.
And why?
Right. And you said we were all here to meet him. By all, the two of you, or there more? He kind of looks at the
Oh,
bloodstain.
well, there's myself. There's Miss Collins over here. There's Dr. Lawrence Carter. He's actually booked the room next door. So we were going to, we all came from different places to meet up and talk with Mr. Elias. Like I said, he invited us. And there's also Mr. Caputo Salvatore and Mr. Volador Guerrero, who are also here. Volador was the one who got stabbed, um, and who most of the blood, so a lot of the blood that is here is his. And he's in the other room right now, uh, undergoing medical, hopefully for the first aid to try to save him and his life. And Salvatore was the one who managed to apprehend one of the one who was trying to come out, go out the window and down the stairs, as well as and I'm hand waving the fact that Luther's not here, so I'm not going to name him, but give a description of him as well.
Perfect. All right. So Paul will kind of stick his head out and he'll motion to the uniform officers, like, see if he can find these individuals here, see if they saw anything.
I mean, we all opened the door at the same time. Where we were having a few, we're having a bite to eat over at what was the name of that place, Miss Collins? Where we were having hamburgers.
I don't think I named it. It was just a diner.
The diner on the corner.
I know that place. I mean, precinct's right around from there, so I go there often. Good burgers.
Yeah, we got here earlier. He said meet us at 8. We decided to stop to eat. The group of us were together. I'm sure the waitress there um, will advise. And then right around 8, we all came up, and that's when we found this.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you for your information, Mister.
Sharp. He has my wallet, right? So
Yep. Yeah, he's specifically like he doesn't look in it, but after you
yeah.
tell him your name, then he looks at it.
Ah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna have to take you down to the station. 14. Sorry. 7A. It's just right around the corner. If everything checks out, we shouldn't waste too much more of your time this evening. If this gentleman was your friend, I'm very sorry for that. And he sounds like genuinely sorry for it.
Thank you. If you don't mind, if I can take my wallet, you can keep my driver's license. If you want to hold on to it, and I want to see if my friend is okay next door.
Of course. And he's gonna stay behind for a few moments while uniformed police will go and kind of round up the rest and escort you.
Sure. I'm going to offer my arm and say, Miss Collins, like to go first because I want to be able to close off to see if he doesn't make sure that he doesn't grab her separate from me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep, she'll take his arm and make a show out of relying on her cane.
All right. Both of you give me spot hidden rolls.
Oh, good. What if we want to fail? I see clearly now.
Oh,
I
Jesus
do not.
Christ. Is that
Wow.
like 5 in a row for you that are above 90?
I've just started the game and I've rolled a 96 and a 98. If I was playing Marvel superheroes, or we'd be doing really well right now.
He said if we were
Sadly,
playing
we're not.
Marvel, those would be like a 1 and a 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they would.
All right. So just as you guys leave, Alvin, you kind of catch it at the corner of your eye that he bends down and he takes a much closer look at that insignia carved into Jackson's forehead.
I don't have psychology, but I mean, I was a police officer. He's taking a look at it as if, shit, this is not the first time that I've seen it, or like, what the hell is this?
Uh, he takes a look at it and you see him kind of like shake his head and go like, "Oh fuck."
Okay.
Meanwhile, Dr. Carter and Salvatore, just a knock at your door. So like, NYPD, please open the door.
Well, I'm unconscious, I think.
Yep. So it's the Dr. Carter and Salvatore.
I look to Dr. Carter, and if he doesn't go to answer the door, I'll go answer.
Yeah, uh, I'll follow Salvador, but I know he's kind of better than me at dealing with people. So I'll support with my standing, but I'll speak. I'll support him speaking.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
Okay. Perfect. All right. So you open the door. There's a couple of uniformed police officers there. They're like, we're looking for Dr. Carter and a Mr. Caputo.
Oh yeah, that would be us.
We'd like you to come down to the precinct. We understand that a friend of yours was involved in an incident. He kind of looks down the hallway. We'd just like you to come down and see if you can answer any questions for Lieutenant Poole.
Yeah, I think it's manageable. Um, I'll turn to Waldor to check on him.
Right. And this is highly unusual, but we understand that Mr. Caputo captured one of the assailants.
I look to Carter with that look of someone who clearly doesn't understand what the guy speaking English is saying outside if he heard his name.
Dr. Carter will, oh yeah, right. And I'll try with my Spanish at first to translate, and then I'll stick my head and translate in German.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, you can get the message across to Salvatore.
Let me ask you in German. Did you capture anyone?
I say in whatever language we have common, yes, he's in the bathtub. I thought this was going to be a secret.
It would be too, but apparently someone playing all this. So I think we need to play along.
Chris, since apparently the jig is up on this quicker than I thought, I'm just going to point to the bathroom.
Okay. The cops, one of them in like very halting Italian says thank you. You can tell he's the sort of guy like maybe like his grandmother is Italian or something and he knows just enough to be polite but doesn't really understand, but he does say thank you in Italian.
I give him a smile that kind of looks warm, but if you know me or if you can read body language, it's just like, yeah, sure, okay.
Okay. And then a couple of cops will basically check with the doctor to see if Luther is okay to be moved. And the doctor's like, he should be hospitalized, but I've stitched him up. As long as he doesn't do anything too strenuous, he'll live. And then he'll give Volador some good old fashioned smelling salts to kind of get him up on his feet.
Oh, well, that sucked.
The doctor's like, Yeah, if it was 2 inches lower, you'd be, well, if you're in a quiet, you'd be taking the soprano part.
I guess I got lucky then.
Well, as long as sepsis doesn't set in, or your stitches don't reopen, or you don't do something strenuous in your intestines, fell, yeah, sure, lucky. Yeah. Don't do anything stupid, and you should live.
Understood, doctor. Thank you for your help. I'll look around kind of confused because there's a lot of people here that weren't here when I came in.
Yeah, including some cops.
And then I'll just quickly with my hands check to make sure my mask is still on.
Surprisingly, it is because the doctor doesn't care.
Absolutely.
Okay. So a couple of guys go and get the prisoner. He is very unconscious from where Salvatore beat him. But they will basically, between the two of them, carry him out. And they will escort you to the nearby police precinct 7A, West 20th Street. It's just around the corner from the hotel, actually, which is probably why they got here so quickly.
This assumes that we are all going willingly. Is that the assumption here, that we are all going with the cops?
Unless somebody tells me that they're not.
Yeah. So Alvin is gonna. I mean, if we're traveling together, I mean, it's not about getting our story straight, but he's like, people died. Cops are going to investigate this. Just be as truthful as possible. The only thing is that door was open when we got there. That's it. We are on the right side of this.
We'll try with that. Personally, I just saw someone getting in the room by the window from my room. That's all I know.
And as the cops escort you, like they're not like close with you, like they're giving you some space. Like they do realize that one of the victims was a friend of yours, and they are giving you some space.
Okay.
Just so we have a slightly different scene.
Just to make sure that information doesn't get lost, I share, and I hope Ms. Collins does as well and helps corroborate. I share all the information we did find in the room. I know you've already put it in the America handouts, but
Yep.
I share that information with everyone.
Perfect. All right. So at the precinct house. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I can counter that the knife that was thrown is of tribal factor. Not a very ancient one, but not a mass-produced. That's something from a tribe in Kenya, if I remember well.
I think it was like East African bush tribes.
East African bush tribe. Sorry about that. I'm mixing countries. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's important for anything, but that's what I could grab out from that knife crawler.
All right. So at the precinct, Poole will basically, he gets like a room. Surprisingly to Alvin, he does not separate you guys. He kind of keeps you together.
Surprising to me and Alvin.
Yeah. And he'll, he gets some chairs, get some coffee. It's like, all right, Mr. Sharp, I see you're, according to your license, you're a private investigator.
Based out of Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Ex-cop.
Yes.
The rest of you don't strike me as law enforcement types, especially this weirdo here, and he gestures to Volador with his mask on.
No, but they're good friends.
I see. All right. So did you leave the
no.
force? Leave the force or
Oh,
kicked?
Let's say I couldn't turn a blind eye on what was going on there. We agreed that it was best if I continued my investigation privately.
I understand that.
Chicago is a dangerous place.
So is New York. Again, my condolences for your loss, sir. So what can you tell me about the victim?
Well, he wrote a book about us.
Oh,
I mean, ever since then, we've been exchanging some. We spent some time together, and we've been exchanging. I mean, I was exchanging some words with him. You might find some of my letters, his things. I think the same thing was true for all of us.
yeah, we've been exchanging research projects from time to time. He has had some insight into my research, and I was able to give him some archaeological cue on his research. So I was keen on getting on the new whatever he would have been working on and meet back with him. Old friend.
I see. Well, I think I hate to say it, but I think your friend. This wasn't some robbery gone wrong or something of that nature. I think your friend. Um, he might have been targeted.
He might have been targeted.
Yeah.
Um,
And he'll kind of go and he'll motion to like the uniformed officers, and it's like, why don't you go freshen up some coffee here?
he might have been targeted. 3 people broke into his place, and he might have been targeted.
And he waits for the uniformed officers to go and refresh the coffee.
I'm starting to get a little upset here.
It's like this that symbol that was on his forehead.
What about it?
Any of you guys tell me what that means?
It would light up lots of information if it could, but he has been investigating on death cult for the past years. I assume he has made one of those, rubbed one of those in the wrong way.
This is your friend. Um, this is
Did you know him
no,
somehow?
no. You said he's an author, so I might know the name, but I don't get a lot of chance to do reading. But this is the 9th body now that we found with this symbol carved in the head.
Oh,
Son of a bitch.
Going back, I think the first one was about 2 years ago, I think. So 9 bodies over 2 years.
there is a death cult in New York.
And we had an expert, Dr. Mordecai Lee. Oh, what was his last name? He kind of flips through his notebook. Dr. Mordecai Lemming. And I'll use the term doctor loosely because I don't think he actually is, but he's a folklorist. Managed to tell us that it was some sort of African death cult.
Well, that makes sense with the knife, right?
With the knife and what you mentioned there about your friend's books. But the victims, I mean, there were no connection that we could find. Poor, wealthy, middle class, white, colored, all over this people from all over the city.
Occupation?
Different occupations, different we didn't find any connection. It was probably more luck than anything that Captain Robson over in the 14th caught the perpetrator red-handed. Probably 4 or
So
5 months
there's
ago.
different groups. So you caught someone red-handed doing it, and it happened again.
So either there's more than one killer, or or and he looks very carefully to make sure that the uniformed officers haven't come back. And he looks straight at Alvin when he says this. Or Dr. Robson arrested somebody and closed the case.
From the window in my room, I saw 3 people escaping from his room, and all of them were having a knife in hand. And one of them got away in a black car. I tried to give him the marks and anything I can remember from the car.
Lieutenant Poole, I don't mean to pry in the investigation here, and I thank you for all the information you're giving us, but the guy who went down for this, did he put up any kind of defense?
Oh, I mean, he did his best. Money's tight. Working class guy from Harlem. Can't afford the best lawyers. You know, cops say they caught him. Found a weapon that, you know, capable of inflicting the wounds. Pretty cut and dry, really. He's up in Sing Sing. He's going to be visiting old Sparky there before long.
Sounds like he got railroaded.
Well, when you get caught with a weapon in your hand,
Yeah, I don't think the weapon was in his hand. Let's just say that Captain Rodsman's salary is not entirely paid by the good people of New York.
yeah, I've heard this story before.
So, you know, you got somebody that, you know, you can easily set up, case closed, business as usual, right?
Until you have 9 other bodies. So you think it's mostly laziness, not corruption, not him being in on it?
I didn't go that far. And there was 8 bodies. Then Mr. Adams was arrested, and your friend here is 9.
There's at least one accomplice at large.
Yeah.
Even if this guy was guilty, it was to say it wasn't 4 instead of 3.
Right. Oh, shit.
You have the name of that man?
Sorry, what was that?
You have the name of that man?
Hilton Adams.
Elton Adams. Okay.
Yeah. Oh God, there's a reporter at the Times. And again, he flips through his notes. Rebecca Schauschenberg. She covered the murders. Covered the trial. She's a good kid. I don't think she's quite cut out for life in this city as a reporter.
Rebecca, you said?
Sorry?
Rebecca what?
Schauschenberg. Schauschenburg.
Paul.
Okay, I would not have spelled it right. Thanks.
Detective Poole, are you telling us this because you want us to be careful, or do you not trust 100% everything that's going on here, and you're curious to see if we can help you close this investigation?
Robson,
I know you can't ask, but
yeah, I can't. I won't be able to sleep if Robson rushed this case. If there's more killers out there, obviously there are the ones that killed your friend. If what this reporter thought was true if Mr. Adams is innocent and gets executed, and I didn't do everything I could. Um, how do you live with that?
I get you.
So I'm sure there's not much I can do. I mean, police bureaucracy is what it is, and I don't know who I can trust and who I can't. But if this gentleman's a friend of yours, um, looking into it on your own, definitely not something that I would encourage, but something.
That if it were to happen, you wouldn't necessarily go out of your way to get in our way.
Exactly.
Uh, Detective Poole, and I know that you're going to usher us out here without any charges and tell us to stay in town, and that's fair. And we are staying at that same hotel. And I know that we can't be present when you interrogate the second suspect, but you have a transcript of that interrogation did find itself in room 406 through no fault of your own or ours. It would be very useful to know what he said.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Now, how long do we need to stay in this precinct for it to look like you gave us the once over so we can get on with what we are going to get on about?
And he'll kind of look over everybody to see, like, kind of sizing up to make sure that everybody's on the same page with this.
We are.
All
The
for a
Italian.
total- I'm all
The
for a total
Italian.
I'm all for a total investigation, but there is a trail that we should follow up on tonight.
I'm sure Detective Poole doesn't want to know the itinerary of our sightseeing.
I'm not giving on my indulging, just on the timing. As in, it would be preferable if we could shorten our visit here in this precinct.
Absolutely.
So once he kind of gleans that everybody is on the same page here, he'll kind of like open the door. It's like, hey, is that coffee coming anytime soon? I'm just about done with these folks here. And he leaves the door like slightly ajar. So it looks like he meant to close it and it just didn't latch all the way and then creaked open a little bit. And then in a slightly louder voice, he's like, "Okay, if you can think of anything else that might be of assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Again, sorry for your loss. If you don't mind staying in town for at least a few more days, just in case we have any additional questions, and we'll be able to reach you at the hotel." He's
Yes,
definitely,
detective.
Definitely like
Playing it up.
100% playing it up.
I played up with him. Absolutely, detective. Yes, sir. We wouldn't dream of it. Anything that we can do to help you find the perpetrators, and so on.
Okay. And yeah, they basically take your names, brief statements, double check that you're staying at the hotel, and then you are released on your own recognizance with the admonition to not leave New York until they tell you it's okay.
Do they return anything that they took from us?
They do.
Okay.
And it's one of those things. I mean, gun laws in 1920s, like even your firearms, like even though your firearm was used in a crime, like once they were like, okay, it was fired the number of times you said it was fired, and so on and so forth, it's returned and everything. Like,
They pull the bullets out of the other guy.
yeah, ballistics aren't really a thing, so
Yeah. Okay. I look to the group. Guys, I don't know about you, but I need to find out what happened. I feel like it's a little bit my fault. I should have listened to Luther earlier and gone to that room.
It's a sad thing to say, but in towns such as this, justice will not be served unless we apply ourselves.
I wouldn't say that. It's just justice might not be what the justice we want it to be.
Justice for someone such as Elliot.
Now I get it. I look to Miss Collins. This is not something that you signed up for. And Mr. Caputo and Guerrero, you guys have high profile jobs or backgrounds or lives. I get it if you don't want to be involved, but I have to.
So, what is it you want to do? You want to go, what, globe-trotting to try to find your friend's murderer now?
Well, not globetrotting. He left. He's in New York. I need to find that third person, and I need to find out what's going on. Why was our friend killed? Because hearing the detective pool, they're going to blame it on the second guy, so there was no third guy, and it's going to be the end of it.
Well, New York is a big city, but I love New York, so I'm happy to assist as long as we're in this wonderful city. I have good memories here. I'd like to have more good memories than bad of this place.
Volador? Are you on mute?
I think he's AFK.
Did I miss that?
Yeah, he's AFK.
Mr. Elias was my friend as well. Although I'm not sure how much I'll be able to help with running around the city, especially in this weather.
Well, motive is important.
I'd likely slow you down more than anything.
Well, motive is important. So first, we got to figure out why they targeted him, and if we can find
I mean, some of our friends are more adept at the running part, but from what you found around his body, I think some of it would just need us to pay attention, listen, and unravel some of that mystery. I think we would have much to investigate on this. That will not require speed.
I don't want to get you guys in trouble. I don't want to. My goal isn't to run you into the shadier parts of the city here. But no one understands his work as well as you two do. And if it's related, we need to know. And part of this is going to be going back and taking a look at the 8 other people who were killed. Because if 8 people were killed before him, there's probably a link between all of them. Now, all the things that we've seen today, these are the 2 most interesting and close by. So, in my opinion, there are 3 avenues. One, for some reason, he held on to this poster that said "one night only." There was a cult of darkness in Polynesia speech. The
It was
gathering.
a 2-hour lecture with slides at the it was at Schuler Hall, New York University. Started at 8:00.
Right. So this thing, it's somehow related, possibly. I mean, we're dealing with some kind of death cult, and he had this poster for a death cult. The other thing that I see is there's this card that he left with Silas's name on the back about imports. I don't know why this is specifically important, but he had it on his person. Maybe he imported something from that South Pacific Polynesia area, and it got him killed. And thirdly, we can try to track down the automobile that you saw, Dr. Carter, and try to get a tab on that third assailant. But let's not discuss this in the middle of the street. Let's go to the hotel and talk.
Well, if it's tonight only at 8, we should check up on this as fast as possible.
Currently, incidentally, it is about 10 to 10.
Jeez.
If the lecture has lasted long enough, maybe we can catch the end or catch the speaker and have a little chat with him.
How far is the New York University, Chris?
You
know what? I probably don't know that. I'm going to flag down a cab and say, how much to the New York University? How far is it?
It's like, hop in, I'll start the meter.
I want to know how far it is before I jump in. You start charging me.
Well, the good news is it is in Manhattan. Just looking at my map here. So the Chelsea is number 18 on the little inset map, and New York University is number 20 on the inset map.
Hold on a second. I need 5 minutes. Guys, keep going without me.
So yeah, you're basically going from Midtown to Lower Manhattan.
It shouldn't take too long. I'd opt in unless somebody has a better plan for right now.
I bet that's at least a half hour.
It's certainly going to be faster than walking.
Yeah.
And less uncomfortable with all that snow.
It is 1.1 miles.
Oh, okay. That's not that bad. Except with New York traffic.
New York traffic in the winter.
And my leg.
Yeah, we can come back on the cab. Is there enough space for all of us?
In one cab? No.
We can take separate cabs.
I'll tell another. But yeah, we're gonna up in.
Okay.
It was mentioned a couple of avenue things to check on. At some point, I'd like to go to Sing Sing, try to speak with the man that was accused.
And the reporter.
All right. So you guys flag down a couple of yellow cabs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Split the wealthier people into the separate cabs.
Okay, perfect.
So we don't have to throw a dice to see if we can pay for it.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, it takes you longer to flag down a reputable looking cab than it does to actually get to Schuler. And as you get to Schuler Hall, and it's at this point in time, it's like, probably 5:10 after 10 in January. It is cold. A little bit of light snow blowing. You pay your cab and head in, and you can see that there are people like leaving the lecture hall. It looks like it was like the well attended side of sparsely attended.
I'm back, but I'm letting you guys take the lead because I'm not aware of what's going on. I'll jump in a little bit later.
We took the cab and jumped to the university. We split into more than one cab, and we're just getting to the conference, and people have started leaving. It seems to be less populated, but not on the lower end of it. We're good attendance. So.
We got to figure out a way to identify the speaker from the attendees.
If I know anything about this kind of meeting, he will be still in front talking with some sycophants.
And true to Dr. Carter's prediction, yeah, there's like as you make your way into the auditorium, kind of pushing past people who are on their way out. Um, there is like down at the front, there is like this like middle-aged gentleman. Say, how old is he? He's 46. Big bushy beard, scraggly hair, and he's in the process of like packing some things up into a briefcase. Answering a few questions here and there from like a couple of people who are asking him questions about cults in the Pacific, cults in the like Polynesia, whether or not there's a possibility that these widespread cults could be related. Um, you know, the sort of people that they're familiar with some things and they're asking him some questions, and he's pretty open. But at the same time, it's like 10 o'clock in January. He's probably quite tired.
I would like to see if I can kind of want to take a glance around, make sure nobody's carrying any of those creepy knives.
Give me a spot hidden roll.
They were pretty big, right? They're not concealable under like. They don't fit in a pocket, right? I think of like
they're like a machete.
Exactly, right? So we're looking for people strapping swords to their back or their thighs, right?
Gotcha.
You do not spot anybody.
Chris, all of the people that all of the suspects were masked, or they just had the bandanas.
They had bandanas. Like
we keep talking.
Like a bandana with like a red piece of cloth kind of hanging off the side of it.
Oh, they're all the same kind of bandana, kind of like a tribal almost.
Very much the same.
Okay. We don't see any of those here right now, right?
Correct. But you guys can make your way up to the front as the last of the like attendees kind of filter out. I guess this kind of booming Australian accent that I am not going to attempt.
Okay.
It's like I can answer a few more questions, but after that, I really do need to get some sleep. I need to head back to Arkham in the morning.
Anybody take a drawing of that mutilation on my friend's forehead?
I have a picture, but we haven't had the time to develop it yet, and they don't have Polaroids in this day and age.
Sorry, Professor, to be a bother. I am Dr. Carter from Ford University. I hope I'm not being too bold, but you said you were needing to come back to Arkham tomorrow morning?
Dr. Carter, Oxford, right? Cambridge? One of those, right?
Yeah.
How do you do? Professor Anthony Cowles, Professor of Anthropology at Miskatonic. On loan from Australia, as you could guess. From Sydney. But yes, I have to get back. Work to do. Well, you know how it is. You do the lectures to raise the funds for the research, right?
Exactly. And I know your time is precious. I was wondering, would there be any chance that you'd be available to take a break for breakfast? I've been made aware of your lecture only very late today, and you might have the expertise I'm looking for in the thing that is bothering me right now. Now, I would not want to delay your return to bed.
Oh, I can't. Unfortunately, I've got an early train in the morning. I could. Is there something in particular you were looking for? I might be able to answer. I could probably summarize the lecture pretty quickly for a fellow scholar.
Just give me an idea. uh, where we are standing right now. I did heard you make a few recent discovery. You could update me quickly. I could probably get my question done fairly quickly.
Yeah, I've been studying uh, um, well, a thought dormant bat cult amongst the Aboriginals back home. So really, I took this position with the Miskatonic to raise the funds. I'm hoping to mount an expedition at some point in the not too distant future. Once I
An
get
expedition
back
back
home.
in Australia.
Yeah, I'm planning. I'm hoping, if everything goes well, that I'll have secured the necessary funds and I can head back home probably in the summer.
Chris, is there a piece of paper somewhere
Yeah,
on
there's
the
all kinds of
desk?
paper. Yeah.
I'm gonna grab a piece of paper and a pencil. I'm gonna sketch out what I saw. Like it's two moons on either side and kind of like a sun in the middle, right?
Yeah.
I
We,
hand
we
this
have been
over. I hand this over to Doctor Carter.
I have been put on the trail of some other cults. I was wondering, would the author Elias ever contacted you for his research?
Um, I know the name. I can't say I met him or spoke with him. I know the name though. I've seen he's published quite a few books, I believe.
He gave me some information about something he's been working on, and he mentioned that he would have been interested to come to your lecture to go further with this discussion. And currently we're in kind of a complex situation toward this. So I was wondering if, and I'll take the drawing that Stark did, and I'll show it to him.
Yeah. Oh,
I
he
was,
wrote. Didn't he write Sons of Death? Wasn't the one about India?
he has been delving quite deep in the different cults around the world.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Fascinating work. I've read a few of his things, but I can't say I ever met the man.
We're keen on trying to make this lecture, but he was unable to do it. And I will forward it, it piqued my curiosity. So I was wondering if that symbol would remind you of anything if you had seen this anywhere. And I'll show him the symbol that start drawn.
Um, no, it doesn't look familiar at all. Um, but I mean, my area, my anthropological focus is on Polynesia and the South Pacific. If it's not from that, probably I probably wouldn't be able to tell you too much.
What I could explain from other clues, it might be sound effective. But he purposely marked your conference, so I was curious if any of his research would have crossed paths with you.
Um, yeah, no, I mean I can. Uh, Here, just a sec, and he'll kind of pulls out these like kind of blurry photographic plates. These are kind of the highlight of my presentation. These are made by a gentleman back home, Arthur McWeir, uh, mining engineer and executor of the McWeir estate. Got these to me along with his diary. Uh, and the plates show. Give me one second. Let me find the description of the plates. So much information in this book.
Dining plates?
No, like photographic plates. So yeah, they are standing stones in Australia. It's four overexposed glass slides, each showing a few sweating men standing beside enormous blocks of stone, pitted and eroded, but clearly dressed and formed for architectural purpose. Dim carvings seem to decorate some. Billows of sand are everywhere. These, I believe, there might be some sort of prehistoric or monolithic civilization in the outback back home, and I'm really hoping that I can get the funding for an expedition. Oh, if I'd remembered, if I'd brought the diary with me, I could have shown you that as well. But that's back home in Sydney.
The outback, is that like a desert?
Yeah, the Australian outback. Oh yeah, I forget you Americans. Yeah, it's largely. I mean, I won't say it's uninhabited. The native people there still reside there, but it is
A large plot of land that has not been taken by settlers, let's say.
right.
Would you say that that's similar to, I don't know, like the deserts of Cairo or stuff like that?
Yep. Similar-ish, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I believe these photos that McGuire took, according to his diary, may link to this dormant bat cult in Australia that I'm hoping to study. It's a shame your friend's.
Diarrhea.
Yeah, if your
Is
friend
the
was with
diarrhea
you,
at the
he might. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Was just wondering if that diary was at the university, the Miskatonic University at our town,
No,
or was it back in Sydney?
it's back home in Sydney.
Oh, yeah. It's a bit of a trek. Could
Yes.
have come visit you at the university, but all the way back in Australia would be quite more of an investment fund.
Well, if you do find yourself in Sydney, definitely come by.
Yeah. Would you be opposed if I? Do you have any printouts of these photo pictures?
No, I just have the original plates.
Oh yeah, obviously.
A friend of mine, the gentleman that gave them to me, Mr. Mackenzie, the mining expert, an executive of the McWhirr estate. He may have made some prints. I don't know, but again, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out exactly why Mr. Elias was connecting those dots, if I may.
Right.
I'm gonna ask the doctor, Dr. Carter. Are we done here?
I think if we have the question we asked you, how long will you be staying at Arkham before leaving for Sydney?
Oh, I hope to head back home in the summer.
Okay. Good.
Arkham's near Boston, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in Mass. It's probably by train from New York. It's probably about 6-7 hours there, 6-7 hours back.
You're just a bit south from me usually.
Right.
But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame your friend wasn't here. His work is actually what got me I think we would have a lot to discuss. So maybe tell him to stop by Arkham if he gets the chance.
Yeah. Um,
Well, I don't got any other questions. Anybody else got a thing before we let this poor man get back to his hotel?
Only how we can contact him later on if we need to.
Y-
Or if we come across something that could be of interest.
so yeah, he'll jot down the phone number for the Department of Anthropology at Miskatonic.
Hey, Chris, can I do like a spot hidden to see if he's got any strange tattoos or markings or brandings like we've seen in these murders or anything like that?
Oh, sure. Doesn't you don't notice anything? Nothing obvious. I mean, he does have like he's wearing a suit jacket and stuff like that, so he's fairly covered, but you don't spot anything.
Okay.
check for his reaction when I say that. And I'm going to tell him, well, Mr. Ellis was implicated in an accident tonight. I don't know when and if he will be able to contact you again. That's why I'm trying to piece out without his help where he was going with.
Okay. Well, I hope that he recovers quickly.
I'm checking him for if he no more than he looks like he's saying, or if his reaction is unbecoming.
Psychology roll.
Clearly not the best at this, right? Psychology. Like that. Summarize.
Should have been psychology instead of persuade, but an 8 is a great roll. He seems like there's some level of concern, but because he didn't actually know Elias, it's that kind of polite concern as opposed to like, oh, my dear friend or anything of that nature. So, yeah, he doesn't seem like oh, I know he's dead or anything of that nature. It's that polite concern you express to somebody that you don't know about somebody you don't know.
That's good. Good understood. Oh,
That's what you're saying.
Sorry, what was that?
He's human. He's like,
Yep.
he's a decent person. Okay.
Yep. And it's important to note that in Call of Cthulhu, the "he's human" statement is sometimes not true.
Okay, fair.
I'm gonna jot down a few notes about the pillar you showed me in the picture,
Okay.
just in case you can recoup with anything. I'm gonna thank him for his time, and let him be on his way.
Now we all shake his hand. I make a mental note to remember his face.
Okay, perfect.
Besides,
Jot down
he's
what I did.
it's obviously he's not obviously not the killer. He was busy at 8 o'clock. He has the best alibi so far.
He has a great alibi.
Lots of witness.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Where to next? It is now 11:30 in the evening.
Ladies,
Yeah,
gentlemen, I think it's time for call it a night.
absolutely 100% agree.
I just wanted to come here before it was too late and we could not text it.
It was a good instinct.
Well,
It's a shame that nothing came of it.
Well, maybe when we have more pieces of the puzzle. I'd rather we have those information than not. I think we should just all aim to get to our respective rooms, make sure that we have someone close in the same hotel as where we're staying. And
Chris,
Yep.
sorry, go ahead, Dr. Carter. I agree with you. My only concern is, are they going to let us stay in our rooms or are they going to move our rooms?
I had already rented another room in another hotel, and I still have those room rented. Like the first bar where we met was the bar at the hotel where I took my first.
Yep.
I took those rooms to facilitate what Luther was trying to do with that door.
So yeah, you do have secure rooms that aren't at the Chelsea.
Check up on the Chelsea on the regular, see if we got any package or anything, but stay safe at the same time. Like we were saying a bit before, meeting with that journalist, and I'd like also to meet with the man locked up in Sing Sing.
I don't know if he has. Well, I obviously want to interview him too.
I mean, he was a witness to one of the murder, at least because he was on the scene. Maybe he knows
That's fair.
something, and maybe you just need a better lawyer to not get tried.
Or he belongs exactly where he is.
Exactly, and I will not on anything until we know more about what side of the fence he is. And I will need your sense of judging people's impression, what they're saying to alleviate my doubt about him. But like Mr. Poole said, I'd feel bad if an innocent man was tried. Not my first priority, but I mean, he's a witness. He can help us.
Sleep
For
first,
tonight?
decisions
No.
later.
Yeah, but for tonight, let's go to bed. We'll meet around breakfast.
Right. The night passes without incident. In the morning, I hit the rest button, so people had their daily sanity loss counters reset, and those of you that do not have critical wounds have regained a hit point.
I lost a couple because I got and stuff by flying card glasses.
But there is an article in the morning paper. Author murdered by brutal killers. Body found in Hotel Chelsea. Possible connection to Harlem murders by Rebecca Schauschenberg. Manhattan, New York, January 15th. Author Jackson Elias has been found murdered in his Chelsea hotel room. The killers are reported to have used long knives to butcher their victim. Lieutenant Martin Poole of the murder squad stated that he is exploring possible connection between this murder and similar slayings in Harlem last year. Local resident Hilton Adams was convicted of the Harlem murders in October last and is awaiting execution in Sing Sing. Lieutenant Poole offered no opinion whether this new murder indicates that Adams had accomplices or is innocent of the earlier crimes. Just to give you an idea of how fast news happens in the 1920s, there were several editions of newspapers a day.
So when we do stick with Miss, maybe Miss Stoltenberg, I think we should be careful about what we tell her, else it's going to be in the paper a few minutes later.
Speak to her.
Let's not all implicate ourselves in our news articles, let's say. Don't know if you, Mr. Starks, you have any ways of dealing with the press as a source, telling them to not put your name in the paper in exchange for information or something. Maybe we can
Other than
help us.
other than trying to keep stuff off the record, but they're very good at putting stuff on the record anyway.
Yeah, my point is maybe if she treats whoever of us is talking with her as a source that needs to be protected if she wants any information, maybe we can deal something with her. My point is we could not all give her everything because we're all gonna get into the paper.
Look, I'm a strong advocate of going after the witness that's in Sing Sing. I don't know if we gain access to him.
Maybe by talking with Miss Konsenberg, we can know if he had family or if he anyone that could give us plausible excuses for wanting to speak with him.
I mean, first things first, we can call.
Yeah.
So, Chris, that's what we're going to do in the morning. We're going to check the availability of going to visit this dude who's in Sing Sing.
All right. Well, you call the prison. And what is your reason for talking to somebody on death row?
He's on death row.
Yes.
So
You want me to?
I fast talk him and say something along the lines of, "Oh, with a string of murders, there's a book, Elias, and all those things, and I'm a publisher, and I'm trying to see if there's some way to salvage what was left, or to see if it's related." Like I just kind of like try to speak to him in a manner, or to the person who's on the other line in a manner to kind of like bring up so many topics and different ways of going about it to kind of overload them and go, yeah, whatever. I don't know if that's possible for the death row inmate.
Wait one sec. Give me a fast talk roll. Difficulty is hard.
Trying to get access to a freaking inmate.
Ooh, look at that, a 1.
Holy crap!
That is
Who cares that I have? Who cares if I have fast talk 77?
All right. So you managed to confuse this poor receptionist, and she finally kind of stammers out. It's like, Brunt, 8 a.m. Monday. We can get you in.
Perfect. Thanks. I leave my name.
Okay. And it's one of those things where, like, as you're talking to her, she's like, "Well, we don't," and you just like, essentially, because fast talk is just like bamboozling people.
Exactly.
So you just kind of like rapid fire, not letting her get a word in, and just kind of wear her down until she's.
And
like,
with the detective and the pool and the ritualistic nature of the murders and like just blah blah.
Fine.
Too much.
8 o'clock Monday.
Yeah. Take my name down. Thank you.
Sorry, are we at the prison?
No, we were calling them.
Calling them.
Oh, okay.
There are still telephones. Right? In the 20s?
Yes.
Okay. Just make sure. There you go.
Oh, that's interesting. Good job.
You have your strengths, I have mine.
I was about to go on a goose chase to try to find the sister or the mother to have a plausible explanation, but that works very well.
So we have two avenues left. We have the car that you saw,
Yeah.
last night. And we have the only other piece of evidence that points to anywhere in New York City that Elias had on him, which is this card for an import-export person.
On the car, the police is probably more equipped to try to find it. I don't know where I would start trying to find a car in New York City. But I'm curious to go visit that import-export place. And depending on what we get there, I'd go try to get a meeting with that journalist now.
Ms. Collins, Volador, do you guys have any other thoughts on this?
That matchbook cover, is that a place in New York? Is that in Chinatown? Because we've heard a lot of
That-
stuff about Chinatown so far.
I think that's Shanghai proper.
It is from Shanghai.
Okay.
Certainly did
The-
get around, didn't he?
My
The only other
Chinese
thing-
is so rusty. I'm not ready to go to Shanghai.
The only other thing I can think of is to go and try to get back issues of those newspapers that happened earlier and see if we can find out anything about the murders that reporter lady was investigating.
I mean,
Yeah,
if we ask Kylie, she might get us all of the articles she wrote about this.
Yeah, and there's probably a lot that information she'd have that didn't even make into the newspaper.
But I'd like to go into a conversation with a reporter with more information than
Well,
less.
I agree 100%.
Would New York be? Sorry, I was about to say something terrible, but equipped enough to keep the backlogs of their journal?
No, but I'm assuming that you two have done like any kind of research before. Where would you guys find back issues of newspapers?
Periodical I kept in university, but it depends on the periodical. How reputable is the journal in which she's writing?
She writes for the New York Times.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
the
That should be
library will have a microfilm, I imagine, of every newspaper.
Is microfilm a thing in the 20s?
I think
No,
it is.
but it might be. We'll look that up. But they do have archives.
I'm pretty sure if we get to the central library in town, their journalistic archives should date back long enough for us to get everything we can find about this murder.
The New York Public Library is the second largest library in the United States, dwarfed only by the Library of Congress.
So let's have breakfast and hit the library.
Did
So
we
can
find
have-
out who Silas is at Emerson Imports?
Not yet.
We should look into that as well.
Well, we were going to go, but we decided to probably look up this. I mean, we thought that maybe it'd be interesting to find out, follow up with the murders first, as opposed to the card, since we know those are connected, and the reporter has the inside information there. We just don't want to show up without information of our own. If that makes sense. And the doctor here says that the library would have all the information we need to be up to speed on what's going on.
I would love to see the library here.
I'll go there, but this is mostly your thing. I look to the two heads
I
here.
propose to make a quick stop at the library to get the backlog in the periodicals from the Times. But we could also give a quick look if we find that symbol anywhere and the more topological part of the library.
That's
Here's
I
what
was
we're going to do.
thinking as well.
You guys go to the library, find out everything that you need to know at the library. While you're there, I'll make a call and make another rendezvous with our reporter friend.
Sounds like a plan.
Considering this situation, I'd appreciate if one of our stouter member accompanied us to the library.
We'll
it
all
would
be at
not.
the library.
Okay, perfect. I just don't feel safe being alone in these days.
Are you saying you wouldn't feel safe with me there?
I
But I'm
wouldn't
so
feel safe for
very
you
rough and
with just
tumble.
me. I wouldn't feel safe with just me protecting you there.
Yes, I'm depending on you to take care of me.
Miss Collins, a
I
woman
will do my
is
best.
always armed.
I know in the past I have been prone to chase car with bad people in them. I would not want to leave anyone behind.
Mm. Yes, this apparently is not as safe a city as I once thought.
Chris,
I know America was not safe, but death cult is above what I was expecting.
Chris, getting access to a reporter who wants to talk about murders is probably easier than getting access to a death row inmate.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to say that I call our lady friend. I book some time with her. I say I have. I am a witness at the Elias murder, and we want to talk.
As soon as you say that you are a witness, she's like, absolutely. Come right down. Down to my office.
Yeah, we'll be there. I look at my egghead friends. How long do we need here?
I'm going as fast as I can.
Sorry, did we skip to the next day?
No.
No,
Well,
what
it is Friday morning. You guys have called the prison. You guys are making an appointment with the
Okay.
reporter and then heading to the library.
All right.
Well, I was hoping to make that call while we're at the library,
Okay.
simply because for the sake of time. This is all their research. I'm just booking a time with the reporter.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Like meet me for lunch.
Sure. I tell them while they're researching, we have a date for lunch with the reporter.
Start with the newspaper, and we can get on the symbol afterwards. Because you want to be prepared for the meeting and lunch.
Why don't you look through the periodicals and I'll look for the symbol?
Good.
Okay. All right. So looking through the periodicals is a library use role. And
There's actually a skill for using libraries in this game.
Oh, yeah.
yes, there is.
Quite good at it.
All of my librarian friends love that.
Yeah.
And for researching the symbol in the occult section is a hard library use role.
Well, I have a 51 in library, but I have a lack of faith in my dice, so I might spend luck on that, depending how. I mean, I won't if it's in the 90s.
Yeah, you don't have to spend luck until after you've rolled. So
Yeah, that's just the only thing I've managed to roll so far.
yeah.
Everything in the library is a hard roll for Alvin. Put it that way.
All right.
Oh.
So you need to spend 50 to get a hard success.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
If we come back tomorrow,
Does
would
it-
there be a roll with a difficulty or just another roll?
Basically, the library, like you spend the morning perusing their occult books. They do not have that symbol.
Okay.
We're
I
checking
was
in
wondering
another
if-
library. I remember what you said about not going
Yeah.
to every library in town.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if a reroll is possible if it's not in the same day, maybe not in the same place.
No. The only way to a reroll is if you push it, which means going out of your way and increasing the odds of something bad happening should you fail.
Yeah. Because I'll probably want to research it myself. Okay.
But the articles in the paper, like just kind of the high level overview, is the first two murders weren't really connected or weren't connected by the press. When the third murder happened, even though the other two did have, like, they make mention of a strange symbol carved on the bodies, kind of like sensationalistic, sell newspapers. There was no direct link between them, but the third murder, they started to make connections, even though the bodies were found in different police precincts. Other than that, no ties. Like one of the victims was like a middle-aged white guy. Another one was like a African American construction worker. Another one was a college student. No connective thread between the victim types. But all of them had recently visited Harlem, which in and of itself is not noteworthy because Harlem is very popular, especially after dark. It is where a large number of speakeasies are. Basically, there was little sharing of information between the precincts until everything was transferred to Captain Robson at the 14th precinct in Harlem. And as far as you can tell looking at it, it doesn't seem like there's no indication that there was any major breakthrough in the case or anything like that until Hilton Adams was arrested at the scene of the 8th murder.
None of the articles say what he said about the murders.
No. But that was October, so that would have been 4-ish months ago.
And since the murder stopped, everyone was like, "We have our man."
Exactly.
I thought the murders continued after the guy was captured.
Nope. Elias Hilton was arrested at the scene of the 8th, and then Elias was the 9th. But yeah, that's basically what you can get from the back periodicals.
All right. Well, I think talking to the reporter is going to be important, and probably talking to the poor unfortunate soul that was put in jail under false pretenses.
We got to stop saying false pretenses. Don't know if it was false pretenses. As much as I'm the first one to say that cops sometimes don't do their jobs, we don't know. There were 3 people that we saw attack or that were there and responsible, in my opinion, of our friend Elias's murder. It is just as easy could have been 4, and they only caught 1. Chris, my character, like as much as he knows there's corruption everywhere, he wants to believe that it's not everywhere.
Oh, for sure.
Chalk it up to those things that you know is untrue, but you very much have to believe it isn't.
The little lies you tell yourself to get through the day.
Exactly.
You're working on your sanity, eh?
All right. So you spend the better part of the morning going through periodicals. Evelyn is going through the occult section. To nothing about that particular symbol. Time rolls around for you to head to the New York Times for your lunch meeting, unless people want to do something in between.
I just want to know what is the plan for the launch meeting. Do we want to just send a few people to our Twitter? Do we want all to know about all of us? How do you want to play that?
I don't think we have anything to hide right now. I think it led straight in.
I just don't want to end up in the paper.
I mean, we can tell her we don't want to end up in the paper, but no matter what happens, we can't control that.
Yeah.
Only she
So
can.
that he's the only one controlling that. But if I stay a bit farther away to intervene if something happens, I can make sure I'm not in the paper.
I mean, all we can do is not list your names, right? We can give one person's name and that's it. The thing is that they have our names at the hotel. If she wants to be able to find us, she will. And the more honest we are with her, the more honest she'll be with us.
The police have our names as well, and I'm sure she has a contact.
Like, it's gonna happen. If she wants to publish our names, there is nothing that we can do, preventative or otherwise, to stop it. And as far as I can tell, she's a damn decent reporter. If she managed, if this was my beat, I never would have let a reporter get an inkling of the fact there was carvings on their foreheads. The fact she managed to get that information speaks to how good of a reporter she is and how deep her contacts go.
I get it. Just wondering if it's necessary for us to barge with all of us in our hall. I mean, we can, but we're a limerick gang, I may say so.
Let me put it this way. Would you rather stay alone?
I mean, you have a point, but
I mean, if we get jumped by the lone killer now, the only one who's left, we stand a much better chance, 5 of us, than we do one of us one-on-one.
yeah, so let's see. I have a thing with reporters. It's all.
And while we think about that, Ms. Collins, we need to figure out a situation where you are safe too, while we rest for the evening, tomorrow evening. The more and more this goes forward, the less and less I feel safe with you in a separate room or some way for you to call out for help. My assumption, though, Alvin's assumption is that she was staying in a different room, right?
Propriety and all that.
Well, it's a bit late for me to try to have my brother come to join me. It would take, knowing him, it would take at least a week for him to arrive, and that
Right.
would hardly do us any good at all.
Think about it. Chris, I'm going to let the doctor, with all the trepidation, speak to the reporter, because
Okay.
I think that they're going to speak closer to the same language than I will with her.
Perfect. Right. Does anybody want to do anything else before your lunch meeting?
Feel a little bit more.
He's just making sure his insides are in the right place.
You arrive by cab at the New York Times building. 229 West 43rd Street. It is recently expanded. It is a hive of journalistic activity. It is, people running there, the clatter of typewriters and typewriting machines, and people running to and fro, and, people that have had way too much caffeine and not nearly enough sleep. The air is like thick with cigarette and cigar and pipe smoke. It is every stereotype of a 1920s news office you can imagine. Asking around a little bit though, you are directed to the crime section, and there's one of the desks is a very neatly kept desk, and a name that says Miss Schosenberg. And she's seated pencil, working furiously on a notepad. She kind of looks up as you approach.
Chris,
Yep.
How common is it? I mean, my character is not New York. He's Chicago, but just by looking around, the crime beat is not where I expect to find a female reporter.
Correct.
Okay, just checking. We knock on her desk, I guess.
She kind of like holds up her finger. She finishes writing. She's like, "Just let me finish this thought." Finish this thought. Okay, done. Can I help you?
We are your 12 o'clock.
Uh, there's more of you than I thought there would be. Okay. She kind of like motions you closer to her desk. Like she doesn't have an office or anything. It's literally like a
No,
desk.
that's why.
Yeah.
That's why I knocked on the desk and not a door.
Yeah. Like, and she like flips over a new paper. You said you were a witness to Jackson Elias's murder.
Yes. I'm hoping someone else takes the lead here because my character
Yeah.
is not going to be great with a reporter.
I'll point to my bandages and says I was almost the second victim.
Oh. So, and what's the? And she kind of gestures to her face. She's like, "What's with? Did he like throw acid in your face or something?"
No, it's a cultural thing from Mexico. I'm a former wrestler and a movie star and director there.
Movie star. She's like jots that
Yeah,
down.
I'm surprised you never heard of me.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Sorry for keeping it low profile.
Sorry. What was your name?
Volador Guerrero is my professional name.
So movie star, famous movie star, famous movie star, also injured.
Also injured. In fact, that book on Peru that he wrote is the basis of one of my movies.
Oh, I don't really go to the movies.
Well, it's Spanish movies anyway.
Miss Rebecca, we were all friends, Mr. Elias. And we want to get to the bottom of this as much as you do.
Oh, okay. Sure. What can I do to help?
We'd like to know as much as you can tell us about this string of murders.
Okay.
I know we all here know for a fact that there's more than one assailant because we saw them.
Doctor Lemming said that some sort of cult. He thought African cult.
Who's Dr. Lemmings?
Dr. Lemming is the guy that Lieutenant Poole mentioned had identified the mark.
Ah, okay.
Just a second. She like reaches into like the bottom of her desk drawer and she pulls out like this big like kind of scrapbook with like all of her like news articles. So 8 murders, 9 now. Victims were unrelated, found in different police precincts. All of them seem to have a commonality of having visited Harlem. Just kind of like Chris quietly whispers, I imagine to visit the establishments there.
Any one establishment in common?
Not that any of my research found.
You
So go ahead.
You talked about a mark and that it had been identified by this doctor.
Dr. Lemming, yes.
Dr. Lemming.
He seemed to think it was some sort of African death cult. I don't have any more information on that. He was a weird fellow. Yeah.
What did you think about that whole connection?
They're definitely connected.
Do you think the man they caught and sent to Sing Sing is truly the culprit?
I don't. There's some there's some parts that don't quite add up. Um, Doctor, Captain Robson and 14th Precinct. Um, he sought out to be lead on this. As his reasoning was that many of the bodies had been found in Harlem, which is his precinct. And then once he was lead and everything went through him, in fairly short order, the case was solved. They found Mr. Adams near one of the bodies. They found a knife nearby, belonged to him. His he said it was a souvenir from his time as a soldier.
Is it odd that a captain of a precinct would take a case like this personally in New York?
No, I think big profile case, solve it. It kind of gets you the attention from the higher ups, right? If you want to be commissioner one day, closing a big name case definitely opens doors. And Robson, at best, he's incompetent. The evidence against Mr. Adams was largely circumstantial, but his family doesn't have any money, and given his race, the Legal Aid Society wouldn't provide him with a lawyer. So friends and family did what they could, but wasn't enough. Millie's still out there looking, seeing if she can find evidence to free him.
Millie's his wife?
Yes, yeah, lovely lady. But
Related to him?
sorry,
Related to him?
his wife.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
But
Miss Rebecca.
Yeah.
You've had access to a bunch of information on this, more than your fair share of information on this case. I know that I know that you think that this man is innocent. Did you have a prime suspect?
I don't. I never got that far. I haven't had much of a chance to speak with Mr. Adams myself, so I don't know what he may have. I could probably arrange to talk to him. Press credentials and all. I could probably do a death row interview with him. That's an idea.
What would getting a meeting with Mr. Adams be worth to you?
Depends on what comes out of it, really. There's something my gut tells me that he didn't do this. When I talk to his wife, I think they got the wrong man, and if I find evidence, if I get him free, that's huge.
Career defining.
Yeah. So
Did you notice any attempts to quell this story? Anybody tried to pressure you into keeping that down?
no.
Look, we want to get to the bottom of this. As much as you don't like Captain Robertson, we also think that things are going to be swept under the rug simply because of how things are being handled. I'll tell you this. 3 people attacked him. One of them dead at the scene. One of them is in police custody, and one is at large. Now, we want to find the person who's at large. We owe that much to our friend who's dead. Can you help us? Did you have any leads of where, why, who, other than this Harlem lead?
No. I mean, Millie's still out there looking for information. She may have something. I can see if she'd meet with you, share what she knows. Um, I can try to get you in to talk to Mr. Adams at Sing Sing.
We actually are meeting him on Monday.
Oh, excellent.
If you were to decide to locate a specific car in New York, where would you go at it?
The police get the license plate. Have the police run it down.
Yeah, I thought that. Wish I had that plate. Just on a car.
I keep forgetting you can run license plates. It's not something that we do a lot of. Cars being so new and all.
So, but yeah, the police could probably help you with that. I mean, I'd be careful of who you talk to at the police.
Can you be more specific, Mr. Leck?
Like I said, Robson's either incompetent or corrupt.
That's the 14th. That's not every precinct.
Right. But that's not to say, I mean, he didn't work his entire career at the 14th. That doesn't mean he doesn't have friends elsewhere, right? Like, no cop is an island. If he's corrupt, then there's others that are corrupt.
And he's going to try to get in our way anyway. Because he's already booked the wrong guy, and if we find the right guy, that's his collar that goes bust and his reputation that goes down.
Yep.
Great. You know,
And even like aside from Robson, I mean, every like shithole speakeasy in this town pays money to the cops to look the other way. Like, you will be hard pressed to find a cop that's not in somebody's pocket. I mean, they're out there. Lieutenant Poole's good. A few others that I've met, uniformed officers, newer guys. They tend to not be broken down yet.
you mean the hopefuls? Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss Rebecca, we are private people.
Okay.
I know that you need to report some of this. Can we keep our name out of it?
I can do that. If you think if you're working to get Mr. Adams freed and I get the story on that, then I can keep your names out of it.
I look around the table around the group. Is that good enough for us?
Good enough for me.
That works for me. Unless Volador needs some pushing for his next movie.
Let's solve the murder first, and then it can be my next movie.
Yeah, if we do stop the murder, you can put your name on the article and you'll have plenty of publicity for the next movie. The man who stopped the murder. Because if we do find the murderer, I assume you're going to stop him physically more than I will.
Well,
Miss Rebecca, Dr. I look at my notes. Lemming.
Yeah.
Is he someone that is on retainer here, or did you have to go find his contact like at the university or New York or anything?
Oh no, he stays at one of the hotels here in Manhattan. Just give me a second here.
I find it strange that you'd have like an expert in weird things on so quick dial. He'd be hanging out at the university at the hotel instead of a university.
I would say I think Doctor is more wishful thinking than.
Oh, so he's a kook.
He's provided some insight. So.
He's an insightful kook.
Um.
I mean, as long as the people he analyzed believe the same thing he does, the fact that his belief are not founded on pure facts make them still relevant. The people committing the murder still believe them too.
He calls himself a folklorist. I don't think they give doctorates in that at Harvard.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So what you're saying, Dr. Carter, is it takes a crazy person to catch another crazy person.
Well, if he has strange belief, but he share them with the people we're looking for, absolutely.
No offense, Miss Ella.
Yeah. No problem. Here, and she'll kind of like quickly like kind of type up like a letter of introduction.
Mhm.
To introduce you to Dr. Mordecai Lemming.
Mordecai?
Mordecai.
Epic bad guy names.
He can be found at Murray Hill Hotel on East 40th Street. If you present this to the desk clerk, they should be able to assist you.
Evelyn, he's your people, right?
Sorry?
He's your people. Like, you can talk to this guy? Because God knows the expletives are going to come out of my mouth if I speak to this guy.
I can certainly try.
Mr. Beck, is there anything else that you forgot, or like, does this mean, like, is this what you saw or what you had identified? And I show her the sketch of the brand that was on
Yes, yeah,
for him.
yes, definitely.
Look, my friend Elias and I spent some time in Peru, and we saw a lot of weird things. Is there anything that you and people around in those circles believe a lot of weird things? Is there anything that you thought was too weird to put in your article that might help shed some light on what these people believe is true and real?
No, I just like after the fact reporting, I didn't. So, Doctor Lemming seemed quite insistent that this was some sort of death cult, but he wouldn't elaborate.
Okay, thank you. We'll give you as much information as we can. As long as you keep up your end of the deal, like, we'll keep each other informed.
Certainly, and I'll see if I can. I'll see if Millie would like to meet with you. Where can I reach you should she decide to?
Chris, I forgot the name of the hotel.
Uh, the Chelsea, I think.
The Chelsea. The
Yeah, the
Hotel
Chelsea
Chelsea.
Hotel.
Just leave a message at the desk and we'll get it.
Excellent.
I look at around the table. Is there anything else you want to ask, Miss Rebecca?
Nothing from me.
You didn't describe her. How old is she?
Rebecca is. Give me 1 second. She is 27.
Oh, Jesus. She's a youngin'. What the hell is she
Yeah.
doing on the crime beat?
Making a name for herself.
Takes everything you got.
So yeah, you figure if she's 27, probably just out of, finished university at 23, so she's, work her way up, probably secretarial pull at first, of course. So she's probably only been doing the crime beat for a year or so, probably 2 years, probably since the, just before the start of these murders, and that's what she's been covering. So
Thank you, Miss Collins. Someone got it. And not Miss Collins.
Yeah.
I mean Anita.
All right. It's like, okay.
Well, I guess we leave.
All right. Perfect. So yeah, it's probably about like 1:30 ish by the time you get yourself all settled and everything, and decide what you would like to do.
Look around the table.
We have a bunch more places we could investigate now. I think trying to find Dr. Lemmings would be interesting. Um,
I mean, he's the only one that I've heard of at all through any stretch of anyone we've spoken to who has an inkling of any kind of who these people might be.
yes.
Yeah.
Everyone else is rolling their eyes, death cult, whatever.
Yeah, he'd be the only one with any details on that.
I
The
think
other
we
thing
should-
would be, I'd like to take a walk around Harlem at some point after I heal up a bit.
Harlem is not a small place.
No, I know.
But if we have the afternoon, I think we should try to track down this Dr. Lemming.
I mean, we know the hotel he's at, and they gave us the address and the name. We can go there right now, or we
Yes.
can call.
I mean, that would be more polite, but we can ensure that we are not too far away if he agrees to see us.
Fair.
I mean, Manhattan is not terribly big, so nothing is super far away.
Because for the wife of the Mr. Adam, we'll have to wait to see if she's willing to hear us.
Yeah, so that's not going to be today.
Yes. Because we have a bunch of where the crimes happened. We can go snoop around and ask a question, but I'd start with the more direct trail that we have.
More importantly, these crimes have already been investigated. They're months old. We might
Yeah,
as well
that-
stick to the one that we know that we were a part of. They all lead back to the same place.
Yes.
The only thing
I
I'd like
I
to
was
know,
assuming days, not months, but yes.
the only thing that I want to know is, did Elias get involved in anything going on in Harlem?
I mean, he used to get himself involved with research on all kind of death cults. Do you have all kinds of strange belief? And since we had a kerfuffle with 3 of them, I assume there's a bunch of those.
Maybe we're just going about it the wrong way. Maybe it has something to do with Harlem and not something but to do with what he's researching.
The one we stopped, I think I heard him say something about people being sacrificed or something. But I was on the balcony, so it's a bit
But the one we
sketchy
stopped.
from what I remember.
The one we stopped.
Well, I think it was the one that has been shot several times, but before he did that, he talked about that those who were standing against him would be sacrificed, something like that, before he was shot several times.
I'm the one who
Oh,
shot
that
him.
sounds bizarre.
But I don't remember. Chris, I don't remember hearing anything like that, do I?
Nope.
No.
Okay, I'm mixing things. My bad.
It's okay. No. I mean, it could have been. He could have been yelling all kinds of obscenities. I didn't wait for him or to explain himself. I just shot him.
I thought I'd remember one of them speaking about sacrifice to the greater being or something. But I might be mixing Peru with what I remember from last game.
No, that's true. Peru is a shit show.
Enough trauma and all those memories start blurring together anyway.
As soon as cultists are involved, I think I mix everything up.
I don't want to think about cultists. I just think that I want to get to the bottom of this one guy,
Yes.
do right by our friend.
For now, the trail of what links to that person has not dried up. let's try to explore all of that, and depending on what we find, we can also look into what he was researching at that moment, the Carlisle expedition. Maybe there's a link between those people and the Carlisle expedition murder.
I want to find this one guy and put this all behind us. We just need to find this guy. The reason that we're chasing after this cult thing because it might lead us to this guy.
Yes.
We're not here to blow up cults. We're not here to fight for the soul of the city of New York. God knows that ship has sailed. I am here to find the killer of my friend.
Yes, Mr. Sharp. But what I'm trying to get to is that maybe someone ordered the murder of my friend.
And it starts with this guy.
Yes, let's get to him and get the information. And if it has to go up, we'll find whoever it is and put an end to it. I'm not trying to stop any cult. I just want to get the right person. That's the
So, Mr.
problem.
Lemming?
Organized crime.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Mr. Lemming?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So you guys are making your way to the hotel.
Yeah, and we're gonna call probably from the lobby. I like Carter's idea. I don't know if it was Carter or Volador who said it. Like, if we call up to his room and all of a sudden he goes running, we want to be close enough to see him run if that's what we're doing.
That wasn't me, but that was a good idea.
Okay. So the hotel, yeah, it's basically it's a Park Avenue hotel. So it is not a cheap like Fleabag sort of place.
Well, I'm surprised.
So yeah, double stairway at the entrance leads up to a marble-lined reception hall.
Jesus.
Still showcasing its glory from when it was opened in 1884. There is a reception desk with a clerk. There are doormen.
Alvin exclaims out loud, "This is not what I was expecting for a folklorist."
I mean, some of the most unexpected business can help you strike riches.
Some people's parents just have money.
I look over at Evelyn and I raise an eyebrow. Like, I'm implying, like, is your place like this? Like, kind of deal?
I don't know what you're trying to imply.
Okay.
Yeah.
Call up to his room, I guess.
Okay.
Miss Evelyn, I think he'll be more likely to talk to you if you don't mind taking the lead on that.
More than likely, yes.
Right. So there is
What
no.
would we like to know from him before he makes his appearance?
He apparently wanted to talk about death cults with Rebecca, the reporter. She didn't want to have anything about it, so we want to know all about that.
That's fine.
So there is no public phone here in the lobby. There is the reception desk and the clerk.
Well, we can ask the reception desk.
And as you approach, the clerk looks at Volador with the mask. It says, "Can I help you?"
I point back to Volador and I say he's famous, but that's not the point. We need to send a message.
Find that doubtful.
But
no,
we
he
need to
is.
send it.
Just not here.
I see. Then it doesn't matter.
I say something in a foreign language I didn't think she'd understand, and give a quizzical look to one of my compatriots, pretending I don't understand what she's saying.
Would you be so kind? We would like to have a talk with one of your patron.
Send a message up.
And are you somebody famous too? Oh wait, not famous here.
My name is Evelyn Collins. I'm an associate of Jackson Elias. I'm sure if you tell him that, he'll know who I am.
We do not have a Mr. Elias here.
No, I'm aware you don't, because he perished last night.
Kind of looks at your two kind of like, big bruiser
Gigantic
types.
beef eater.
Yeah. Says, I am not surprised.
They're escorting me kindly after the trauma of last night. They're concerned for my safety.
I see.
We haven't given the name of the guy we're going after, and
No, and if someone could tell me who it is I'm here to talk to, that would be great.
Dr. Lemming.
Ah, there you go.
And we have
So
his
if you
room
tell
number
Dr.
and his.
What room number is he in? Do we know?
We don't know the number, but we have the
Okay.
number.
Yeah.
One of those
So if you could be so kind as to tell Dr. Lemming that I'm here.
And you are, oh wait, an associate of somebody famous but not famous here who has recently perished.
No. My name is Evelyn Collins. I'm a spiritualist from Connecticut.
That doesn't matter.
I'm an associate of the writer Jackson Elias. Jackson Elias perished last night. What was the reporter's name again, Chris?
Rebecca.
Schauschenberg.
Schauschenberg.
Okay. Chris,
Yeah.
this is a fancy place. I have to pay fancy prices. My year-end cash is $10. I take a $5 bill, flip it over, and I say, "We just want you to work. Don't necessarily need you to talk."
Give me a credit rating roll.
Oh God, this is gonna suck. Nope. It rolled 40. Not even close. Who's got money here?
Kind of like very carefully, like they're afraid to touch the crumpled up $5 bill. Just kind of pushes it back to Alvin, probably with like a pen, so they don't actually have to touch it.
Can you talk to this guy, please? Before I take 2 steps away and I let somebody else handle this.
This is not that sort of establishment.
You'll have to forgive him. Last night was not what we expected. Dr. Lemming wanted to discuss some religious organizations with me. Rebecca Schauschenberg gave us his address. Or this address.
I see. Give me a persuasion roll with a bonus die.
You're supposed to be social. Anita.
Anita's social. Evelyn is happier talking to ghosts.
Ooh, and people.
Although people are okay. She just likes them better after the dead.
7% of the time they are okay.
It's pretty
The funny
good.
part.
Persuade is only a 10.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's funny. You rolled a 7, didn't even hit the hard success.
All right. They'll say, okay. Goes over, picks up the phone, goes up, says, Dr. Lemming, there are some individuals here. That reporter sent them. Very well. Upstairs, room 612.
Thank you ever so much.
I take my $5 back and put it in my pocket.
Does this establishment happen to have an elevator?
It does.
Oh, thank goodness.
Has like the little elevator operator with like the little like the handle.
And the slidey doors and the handle.
Yep.
And that cat. Oh,
Is it
bellboy
all?
hat.
Is it all pretty Art Deco?
It is.
Ooh, love Art Deco.
The elevator takes you up to the 6th floor. When you get to room 612, Mordecai is waiting for you already.
I thought you were going to say that there was someone there. Someone was standing over his body. And I was going to be like, not again.
Waiting for us. Knife sticking out of his chest.
Dr. Mordecai. He's like, yes, come on, in, come on. Like,
Thank
Can
you.
you
so
describe
much.
him? Who's inviting us in?
I threw the picture up there into Foundry. He's a
Oh,
older gentleman.
jeez. He's underneath the other one. Sorry,
Yeah.
he's underneath shot Rebecca.
He's in his early 60s, kind of balding, kind of like drawn skin. It's like, it's been quite a while since I had visitors. This is lovely. Lovely. What can I, so that lovely reporter sent you. Excellent.
Yes, it seems we have some interests in common.
Oh, come in. We can talk. And he kind of stands and
Spot hidden roll, if you don't mind.
well, as he leads you like into the room, it is opulent and it is stuffed. There are like statuaries and paintings depicting like different like mythological things, and there are books and objects from like everywhere from like the Indian subcontinent to like Wales and Scotland, and like just like he's got like a pictures and statues of like American Old West legends like Pico's Bill and Paul Bunyan, like just like every sort of mishmash of like mythological knickknack that you could get. He has stuffed in this room. Things are like tipped over on shelves and falling over. There are maps, there are books, there are scrolls. It is crowded, and he like has to move like a pile of stuff to like clear off a couch for you guys.
I kind of smiled to myself like, this is more of what I expected, except everything is much more expensive than I expected.
So, and yes, anybody who would like to can make spot hidden rolls.
I see a Yeti.
There's like one of those like those touristy like Yeti paw print like paw things.
Dude, this actual Yeti.
Back to my normal rolls.
You hit the clutch one.
I hit the clutch one. I get one good roll a night. That's it.
So, what can I help you with? And he reaches and he takes like a little sip out of his like medicinal flask.
Send this sketch over to Miss Collins. But I'm taking it back.
Is that the symbol that was on his forehead?
Yep.
I was wondering, since we run in some of the same circles, if you had ever seen this symbol before.
Yes, the murders that reporter was investigating.
Yes. Other than on the murder victims. Well, I don't know why I just rolled a die. I certainly don't want to roll survival in this room.
Can I say, survival is quite the interesting role for this room.
Apparently,
I wish
Spot
to touch
is
my-
having the summarized sheet. Sadly.
I must have brushed my touchpad. That's ominous.
Yes, I believe that these this symbol, it's related to a death cult, specifically African, an African death cult, or it could be somebody is perpetuating the myth that this African death cult is active. But either way, the symbol, it's I think it's descended from a cult that was driven out of Egypt, out of dynastic Egypt. I haven't been able to actually find the name of the cult themselves, but I believe that this cult, the symbol, is related to a group that was driven out of Egypt millennia ago. I would hazard that they settled in Africa or elsewhere in Africa. I don't know exactly where, but that's my thought. Either somebody. I mean, the cult couldn't have survived. I mean, thousands of years, but maybe somebody knows
But
of it.
who else would know about the symbol, though?
I don't know. Researchers, um, uh, occultists, people who study the strange and the unusual.
Yes, like me, but I didn't recognize this. That's why I'm sort of curious.
Mr. Nakwane, he might know. He might know. Yes. He takes like another sip from his nerve tonic flask.
And who's Mr. Akwane?
Silas. He runs the antique shop in Harlem. He brings me trinkets and things that he knows that I would like. Very reasonable price. Very lovely man.
He seems to have brought you quite a bit.
He specializes in just the stuff from Africa.
He's an imports guy, is what you're telling me.
He's an antique dealer.
Hmm. I look over knowingly, without a lot of guile, to Dr. Carter, who already mentioned his name earlier.
If you have time, I would love to. It's been so long since I had anybody to talk with. I can order up some tea and some food, some refreshments.
I would find that absolutely lovely. I am not so sure, other than Dr. Carter, I'm not so sure about my companions.
I mean, where would we sit? I look around.
You could go and visit the
Antique store.
antique store. And then we can meet you back at the hotel at... What time is it now, Chris?
Right
She'll
now,
look around and try to find a clock.
it's about 2:30 in the afternoon.
We could
Dr.
meet you back
Lemming.
at 6.
Yes.
Dr. Lemming, can I borrow your phone?
And he'll point, and you can see like up until you guys called, it was probably buried under a pile of stuff. But it's now out in the clear.
Thank you.
Look
I'll
around.
let Anita keep talking, but all I want to do is see if the import-export place is open, because I have a card, right, with signed Silas on the back, and make an appointment to go see it later in the day.
It is open
I'm
until
looking
5.
around. Okay. I want to look around his room and try to see if the numerous thing that is everywhere has any historical value or if it's just mishmash and man's note.
Okay. Give me let's call it an appraisal roll. You don't see anything
Do
that catches your eye as being anything like super important or anything.
Okay.
But yes, Emerson Imports is open to 5. You will note though that Emerson Imports is not in Harlem; it is in Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, that's a twist.
is that closer or further?
It's a little bit further. And Dr. Carter, you would be aware that um, Silas is the dealer. Emerson Imports is the importer. Those are two separate businesses.
Okay, I might have missed a bit. He told us that there was something from Emerson.
No, he told you about Silas Nakwane, who
Okay.
is an antiques dealer operating out of Harlem. Silas's name is written on the back of the business card for Emerson Imports, but
Okay.
one business imports the items and then the other business sells the items.
Okay.
Just so you guys
Because
don't get
Alvin doesn't know the difference.
yeah.
Because Alvin doesn't know the difference, he made the mistake.
Yep. But Dr. Carter, you would be well aware of the trade of artifacts and things like that.
Yes. Um. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to piece something out. There was a bit of noise, and I think I missed a part.
Okay.
But I remember the card that we got from Elias.
Yep.
What did Lemming said that pushed us to want to go there right now?
He mentioned about this African death cult.
Yes.
And
This-
Silas is a antique dealer specializing in African
Okay.
antiques who provides
He
him with
named,
things.
yeah,
Evelyn
he
had-
name dropped Silas, and then we remembered Silas was on the card.
Yep.
Right.
And then
Evelyn
I
had asked
called.
who might else have. Evelyn had asked who else might have some knowledge of the symbol in this death cult. Since Dr. Lemming said, "Oh, only people in the occult would know about this," and she's like, "Well, I'm in the occult, and I didn't know it. So who else?" And he mentioned researchers might know about it, and then he said Silas might know about it.
Okay.
And that's how we got to Silas.
And then I assumed, or Alvin assumed, that Silas was working at the import export, and he made a call to make a rendezvous there, when really the import export is further downstream.
This is the reseller. We need to find the import person, the one who brings it in. The name was written on the card, but I don't think he works at this place.
Right, that would be Silas and Kwane.
Yep.
And he's
the
out of
one-
Harlem.
Do we have a tail on him?
Well, they said that he works out of Harlem.
Yes. Mr. It's called the Juju House.
So I think we would have a better chance if we go there than at the import place.
Okay, fair.
The Juju House?
Yep. JU hyphen JU.
Yep, JU. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely an occultist place.
Sorry, the Juju House is affiliated to the Silas guy?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be a good place to go.
Juju
This
is
is what we know. I'm going to lay this out, or Alvin's going to lay this out because it's getting a little confusing. He's like, okay,
Very slang for magic.
so our friend here, Dr. Lemming, is saying that the only other person that he knows that would know specifically is Silas. Silas works at the Juju House. And Silas, and probably by extension the Juju House, imports artifacts through Empire Importing. Is that correct?
Imperial Importing, I think, do the reselling of what they bring back in the country.
No, they do the importing, and Juju House sells some of the things that they've imported, right?
Exactly. Yep.
But they would be the one, from what Dr. Lemming says, that have the information we seek.
Silas at the Juju House has the information that we seek. The importer is further downstream. They may or may not know what they're importing. They're just importing it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we should try to make this Silas person.
Well, Evelyn, do you still want to stay here and talk to, or finish talking to Dr. Lemming?
Oh, Dr. Lemon and I can certainly sit here and talk shop, and if we get tired of talking to each other, we'll call a spirit. But if you gentlemen would like to run all over New York City, it would probably be a bit quicker without me.
Alvin looks around this area. How, considering how you described it with every knickknack and all the knickknacks and books that we saw at Elias's place, how similar do these two places look like in terms of?
It's a collection of like mishmash of like mythology and folklore from like around the world.
But that's how, a little bit how we
Yeah.
described Elias's, right?
Yep.
It looks very similar.
Not to the same extent. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, if people are interested in like Arthurian mythology, if you go into two different houses, they're going to have copies of like Le Morte d'Arthur. It's that sort of thing.
When I look at our handy, capable friend Evelyn Collins, and I just keep projecting what happened last time we were in a place like this. Are you certain, Miss Collins, that you don't want to stay with us?
I'm not very mobile at the moment either. I don't mind chaperoning.
So very kind of you. And yes, you should absolutely be careful. You do not want to open those stitches.
I mean, I'm just as comfortable waiting here for this conversation to play out, and then we can all go.
I have no interest in going to the antique store.
The Juju House?
I know.
So your call, Miss Collins.
It's
Doc,
more the pain involved in getting there.
sure. We'll call you later, I guess, Mr. Carter, and I guess Salvatore. Are you still interested in going to the Juju House with me?
If
Certainly.
it's terribly interesting, I can always go tomorrow.
There's a few questions I'd be more than glad to ask the people at the Juju House. So I'll be accompanying you if everyone is comfortable with this arrangement.
Sounds fine to me.
Salvatore, you staying?
I will join you to go to this Juju house.
Miss Collins, we'll be back a little bit later.
Have fun on your adventure. Try not to knock over anything expensive.
Stay safe, if it comes to the point where you feel bored and feel the need to summon a ghost, try to choose a friendly one.
I absolutely will. I'll see if Mr. Elias can give us any advice.
Well, it's one of the event I would not have predicted. Glad to have met your acquaintance, Dr. Lemming.
Pleasure.
And I'll start moving towards the exit to go to the Juju house.
Okay.
Same. We're exiting.
Juju is a Asian term, if Asian, IT term.
It is. Yep.
It's kind of voodoo magic, if I remember well.
Are we walking into a voodoo magic place?
Well, it might be for clout. Voodoo has long been used to impress on the white folks, and it was a mix between African culture and Catholic belief, just mixed and matched saints and gods from Africa together, so that it would not seem too heretic, but would seem mystical enough for the gentry in New Orleans to partake in the mysticism of their hairdresser.
So bad juju doesn't actually mean something? Is that what you're telling me?
But juju is a term for kind of magic. So bad juju is being cursed.
You are not filling me with confidence, Doctor.
Juju just mean mystical or magical. So that juju place is just a place for occultists.
That does not change my sentiment.
Yes, I can understand that. But most often, this culture has been played for clout to make white people afraid, or more ready to believe in whatever they were selling them. So it might just be that something trying to sell stuff to white people.
I'm going to have the rest of this conversation in the cab, Chris.
Okay.
Yes. But like I said before, if they believe the same thing as the people were looking for, the information is valid.
Juju House in Harlem. It is located at Ransom Court, so it is a court with a bunch of crowded tenements around it, and then one of the ground level shops is Juju House. It looks like largely like a pawn shop.
Chris, I just want to make sure that I didn't mishear that. The name of the street was Ransom House, as in like where you kidnap people?
Ransom Court, yes.
Like the publishing company?
No, that's Random House.
Oh, yeah, right.
The African Art Emporium. It's in Harlem, One Ransom Court. Basically, there's an alley. It's a short alley that opens up into a 20-foot square court, and then the only doors on that level are Juju House and the back door of another abandoned pawn shop.
Oh my god. This sounds like the kind of place where if I had to go here as a police officer and I had to give a briefing on coming here, it would start with like, after we have set fire to the entire thing, that's how it would begin. It sounds like a terrible place, Chris.
That's assuming you'd get out in order to make the report.
That's right.
And as your cab's going to pull up, and at this point it's probably getting on till like 3, so you've only got about 2 hours of daylight left. You do see there's a couple of people kind of like watching from their windows, like at the various tenement apartment buildings around. What would you guys like to do?
Well, I step out of the cab and I say, bad juju indeed. Say, Dr. Carter, you want to take this one?
Yes, let's roll. This might be a place where the way I dress might play against me, but pretty sure I can make this work. And I'll start walking confidently in the direction that I have been pointed for the Juju house.
Perfect. And at this point, I'm going to get you guys to give me what's called a group luck roll. So whichever one of you has the lowest luck is the one that needs to make the roll.
My luck is
59.
48.
Does that have anything to? Should I be making that roll as well since I'm not there?
No, it's only the people who have gone to Juju House.
Okay, cool. Because mine's 32.
Mine's 48.
Oh, we're tied.
All right, so one of you can make the luck roll.
I'm going to let Mark do that.
Go ahead.
Oh, please. You're the one who's got all the luck.
Nobody wants to be responsible.
Fine, I'll roll it.
Ah, see?
Okay, perfect. All right. So yes, basically, like I said, this little alley leads into this court, and then the only two ground level things in this court are Juju House and the abandoned pawn shop.
So I walk up to the Juju house, trying to look in at my place, which might be a
Okay.
stretch.
Okay.
Trying to look like I belong.
Oh, you rolled an 8. That's a
Yes, he did.
That is an extreme success. Right. So as you guys are kind of like making your way down this little alley, you do see that there's a couple people kind of like going into and coming out of the Emporium, out of the house. One of them, most of them are African American. Like 98% of them are African American. You do see one of the people coming out of the thing is a very smartly dressed white man in his mid-20s. Because you rolled really, really well on the luck, Salvador can give me a spot hidden roll. Perfect. So you can see, like, as he's coming out and kind of adjusting his winter coat, you can see that he definitely has a gun. Basically, he's got, like, underneath his winter jacket, he's wearing a suit, very well dressed. And as he's putting this very thickly stuffed envelope into his breast pocket, you can see that he has a gun. And because you got an exceptional success on the luck roll, you can also see his detective's badge.
That was not expected.
Sorry, and he's leaving the pawn shop or he's leaving the occult shop?
He's leaving the antique store.
Okay. Sorry, that's the abandoned one?
Nope, that's the actual. There's the antique store and then the pawn shop. The pawn shop is abandoned. The antique store is not.
And that's Juju House, you mean?
Yep.
Okay.
Very obviously a cop who has basically just gotten paid. But are you guys entering the Juju house?
I think that's the goal.
Do we know if? No, I assume Silas is a black man.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna I try not to interact with the finely dressed white man, and just get into the shop.
He's leaving, right?
Yeah. He's on his way out. So yeah, it's a fairly tiny shop, and there are kind of a there's like a kind of a grimy window from the winter slush and stuff. Some like African artifacts, drums and tribal masks and the like in the window. Some other things on display on the inside. Um, this very short, elderly African American man with very little hair, wearing a very old fashioned suit, is kind of sitting in a rocking chair as the like one or two other people in here kind of like look around.
Like a Louisiana style old suit.
No,
Okay.
just like an old suit that has seen better days.
Okay.
Doesn't seem to give any attention at all to you, really.
I nudged Dr. Carter.
Yes. Is there someone that seems to be in charge of the shop, or is it the very old man?
Um, doesn't seem to be anybody that is specifically in charge. Um, but oh, and when I say the store is tiny, like the entire shop interior is 15 feet by 20.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's you, the old man, and like one or two other people in here. So it's pretty crowded.
Are the other people clients or?
They seem to be kind of like looking around, looking at things. Like there's like leather-headed drums and stuffed giraffes and carved wildebeests and um,
Okay.
like display only like weapons with like their edges dulled, that sort of thing.
Okay. I'll approach the older gentleman.
Okay.
Sorry to be a bother, but would you happen to be Mr. Silas Enquane?
Okay. He kind of gives you this like big like toothless smile. Says, "Yes, yes, I am Silas."
Very pleased to meet you. My friend Elias mentioned your establishment, and we have been researching some information and some relics that maybe you could help us identify.
Maybe. And
Uh,
he has a very very like heavy accent.
uh, can I try to spot from where?
Um, one of the African countries. You're not familiar with any of
Okay,
the languages, so.
okay, good. That's enough for me.
But you can give me a
Um,
you can give me a spot hidden roll.
okay. Could you roll it for me? Spot hidden is one of the skill I cannot access because it's not in the minimized sheets for some reason. Oh, I can roll like this. Good.
Oh, a 15. Excellent. So as he kind of gets to his feet, you can see that he does have like a fair sized brass key on a leather thong around his neck.
Okay. Um, I don't know if Elias had the chance to come speak with you.
And the name does not sound familiar, no.
Okay. Uh, making research, and I was wondering if that symbol ringed any bell for you. And I'll bring out a paper with the symbol drawn on it.
Give me a psychology roll.
Could you ask me for a roll for psychology?
Yep. I have to remember that I can do that. If I click on your sheet, it's just like, hey, give me a roll.
Yeah, because I all the first skill I can, the one I can minimize, but the one in the third column or in the bottom, I just can't access. I don't see how I did on that roll. I had the same problem as last time.
33.
Okay.
So, I mean, you could spend 23 luck to pass if you liked.
That's a bit much for the luck I have.
Okay. He's like, this symbol. This is a bad symbol.
Yes. Something bad happened to my friend, and this symbol was there.
So, the symbol is a cult of the bloody tongue.
Okay. Can you tell me about them?
Cult from Africa. They sacrifice many people to their god.
Several people in town were found dead with this symbol carved in their forehead.
They are from Kenya, I believe.
Cult of the Bloody Tongue.
Yes.
Do you know what they pray to? What they sacrifice to?
I don't know. I can investigate for you.
That would be appreciated. Did you ever get any relics in your shop that were related to them?
No. Harmless knickknacks and toys.
They all add knives from the bush in Africa.
Oh, knives aren't hard to get.
Yes, I was wondering if they would be looking for anything else.
I don't know.
You're in the business of bringing things here. They might have asked something of you, something strange that reminded you of them.
Nothing I can think of. I bring in mainly for the people here. Stuffed giraffe, ivory carved wildebeest.
Yes. I don't assume your people have much books about those cults.
No.
If you're able to find me anything about them, I'd be interested, or if you have anywhere I can look for them. I'd look. One of my friend was their victim, and I want to get justice for him.
Oh, I understand. Justice is important.
Yes.
Chris, while Dr. Carter's conducting this interview,
Yep.
I'm looking for anything that might remind me of the people who attacked us. So,
Okay.
whether it be the knife, whether it be the scarf, whether it be the symbol, anything that might remind me of them at all.
Okay. Those of you that are here in the shop can give me a spot hidden and a psychology.
I already failed the psychology. Can I do the spot hidden?
Yep.
I'll need you to request it.
Salvatore, check you with your psychology.
Oh, Salvatore is quite good in social things. Been surprised a couple of times.
I don't know if you can click that in the chat or if you need me to.
Did it roll?
No, I think I might have to do it for you. Oh,
Oh, we did. There's this delay.
All right. So Alvin, as you're taking a look around, um, you don't see anything out of the ordinary, and then you kind of catch it. One of the knives on the wall has just like the tiniest little spot of blood on it. Like you almost don't notice it.
What kind of knife?
It's just like a hunting knife sort of thing.
Okay.
Not the sort of thing that the cultists were wielding, but unlike the other weapons on display, it is not dull. And Salvador, with the psychology check. Salvador, as when Dr. Carter is showing him this and saying like, "Oh, our friend Elias was killed by these cultists," you get this feeling, this dreadful feeling comes over you, and you realize that Silas knows exactly what that symbol is. And as Dr. Carter's going like, "Oh, if you could research this," you can see Silas kind of going like, "Absolutely, yes, I can do that for you." Silas obviously knows way more than what he is letting on. But after that, we will call it there with this realization of Salvador that Silas knows shit. And Dr. Carter just gave him a bunch of information. And we'll call it there.
We might need to switch our interrogation technique.
Right.
All right.
So,
Sorry I was so quiet today, guys.
I'm
I've
just
been
waiting.
out all day.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Dr. Carter to say, "Oh yeah, we're staying at this place and we're going to bed soon." And yeah,
it really depends on if Salvador gets a chance to warn him or not.
Honestly, even before you said that, my plan was to give the hotel where we're not sleeping, but where I rented a room, so I can actually get message there, but not be there.
fair.
Okay. Just before we go, if folks want to open up your character sheet, I clicked on development phase, and you can do your luck replenish rolls.
Did we do that even if we didn't spend any luck this game?
Because you can go over your starting luck.
Not like.
Sorry, we just click recover luck points.
Yep. And the way it works is it'll roll for you, and if you roll higher than your current luck, then your luck will go up by a d10. So when you look at these, you can see like Volador rolled a 73 out of 32 luck, so his luck went up by 5. That's how that works. Perfect. But we will pick this up next week. Hopefully Luther will be able to join us, and we'll see what happens here.
Chris, I don't know if you can say this. How does it feel? Because we had concerns about how much we're going to investigate and if we're going to get off track and stuff like that. How is this feeling with us chasing different leads?
Good. Like the information, like there's some things that you guys haven't investigated yet, and that become more relevant like the Saturday of game instead of the Friday, assuming everybody lives until Saturday.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys are pretty much on track. Actually, probably a little bit ahead of the game, but we'll see how things play out.
Well, it's not about being ahead of the game or on track. It's just
Yeah.
I wanted to address the situation that you said. Hey, this game players can get lost.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to address. Does it feel like we are lost? And your answer is no. So I'm happy with that.
Nope. You guys are. You guys are on track. You guys are doing well with going like, okay, this is the important thing that we need to look at right now. This is the thing that can wait a little bit.
Okay. Thanks so much.
the other thing too is the New York chapter does not have a lot of like side quests built into it, because it's designed so like Peru teaches you a little bit of the rules, New York teaches you a little bit more of stuff, and then you're kind of like off on your own once you get past New York. So there's not a lot of like red herrings in New York.
Okay.
So, all right, but yeah,
Have a good night, everybody.
we'll see everybody next week.